Good afternoon. Today is December 5th, 2023. The time is now 1 p.m. I'm Kevin Day, Chair of the Custer County Board of Commissioners, and I will call this meeting of the Board of Commissioners to order. If you do have your cell phones, please silence them at this time.
Yes.
Just check it. All right.
I think I left my cell phone out in the truck.
And if you would join us for the pledge and for the invocation. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please join me in prayer. Lord, we just come before you and we thank you for living in such a beautiful place with us anchored to Crystal Mountains and our valleys and our rivers and the resources that you provided for us. Lord, we just have so many intelligent, wonderful people that live here. And I just ask for your blessing upon each and every one of them. Give us guidance as we go through this meeting, instill us with the wisdom that you'd want us to have. And I just pray these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, sir. Now, I was almost going to say Kelly, but Peggy, could you do a roll call for it?
Sure. Commissioner Day,
Present.
Commissioner Campbell.
Here.
Commissioner F,
Present.
Attorney Dan Slater,
Here.
I'm Peggy Miller, Deputy Clerk.
Okay. Audience introductions, and we'll start right here in the front row.
Stephen Wilcox.
Johnny Wilcox.
James Gilbert. John Van Dorn.
Nadine Peterson.
All right. Thank you, guys. Nice to see you again, Nadine.
Yeah.
Uh,
Could be.
So, and if anyone goes to speak later, if you could identify yourself for the record, I would greatly appreciate that. Any amendments to the agenda?
None for me, sir.
Anything for you, sir?
No.
All right, nothing here either. We do have a set of minutes from November 8th to approve.
The one statement under the landfill report, said Brian Lockhart is waiting for the approval of trench I before he can start using it. Is trench I is the last trench, right? The one that we haven't started filling. I thought we already had approval for that.
That, yeah, so I believe the trenches are approved.
All approved, right?
Yeah.
It's the open area landfill that he's
open area.
waiting,
Open
so
fill,
we need to
okay.
make a correction there.
And that trench, yeah, will last approximately 1 year and 2 months. Okay. All right.
Yeah, because he's already in trench I believe. Yeah. Any other corrections? Questions?
No, I move we approve the November 8th minutes.
I'll second.
Okay, so I have a motion on the floor to approve the minutes as corrected here this morning. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, commissioner items, Commissioner F.
Let's see. I don't think I have anything. I don't think much has changed since last Thursday.
Commissioner Kanda.
Now we're going to discuss the translators next meeting with the bid that was in. Look at the program. We got them all in, so made her in time. Mill levy discussion. We need I'll put that on the agenda for the 13th. We're going to have to schedule a meeting, town hall meeting after that to make sure we get make our decision. Then we'll get a town hall meeting with all the tax districts to see what the big picture is, and then go back and certify them to the timeline that's required. I know I did talk to Lisa. She's got JD's input and has already done a lot of that to figure out what we need to put it in terms of mill levy. Even though she's gone, she'll still act as she was. Got that done. And let's see. I think that's it for now. Okay.
All right. I have nothing to bring today either on that. We might ask, you got the bids in on that work for out there for tomorrow's agenda?
I just got it. I'm gonna send them to each of us.
Okay, I was gonna, if you wouldn't mind sending.
Yeah, we'll have that in time to discuss it. I'll do
Okay.
it after the meeting.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Dan, do you have anything for us?
I do not.
Okay. Other than what you brought to us today, I guess. Okay, Peggy, do you have anything for us by chance? Unfinished business, that will take us to the finance report.
So, the leases, Jen has been gathering those up. We think we have the majority of them, gathered up other than airport leases. And we get those from the airport board and then, some cell phone leases that we need to get from Vernon Roth. Otherwise, I think we are fairly certain that we've got the majority of those leases gathered up. So we can take those and have Sam Donardo start going through those and get us corrected for that qualified opinion that we got on the audit for item number 1. And then the AGEs, we still have a few of those to go. And we'll get those finished up when Lisa gets back. Got that training session on December 15th with CIC, both for the treasurer and the finance department to reconcile the items in between the two, but the AGEs have to be in and a new report ran, and then the cash reconciliation can start on that. So it's kind of where we're at. E911 board is correcting their items, but there's about 150 different cell phone system. I don't know if you want to call them providers or processors that process those cell phone payments to E911. So getting those all directed to the same PO box so we can make regularly monthly deposits and get that, which is one of the audit findings. I think it's number 5 or 6. That's ongoing. So, and then we've been correcting our journal naming for all the departments. They all have the same journal entry. So
Same line item.
Yeah.
Entries.
If we want to do put myself on the account, then we probably need to take and get a resolution to do that. So
I thought all 3 commissioners should be on it. I didn't know we needed a resolution, but we can.
we probably should. We should stay within what we need to do.
I move we put you on the account.
I would second that, and then I had a question.
Okay.
You were gonna visit with Virginia.
So I did visit with Virginia. She says it's against state statute to have more than 2 on the account. And so that's why I brought it back here.
On the account?
Yeah.
Two commissioners can't be on the account.
Well, 2 are on the account. So that's
Only
the
2?
third.
It's
So
not
just the
legal to have
chairman and
3.
vice
I
chairman.
haven't seen that.
So I guess I'm gonna
Can you
refer
look
to you,
into that?
Mr.
I've never heard of that.
I don't, when I took a brief look at this, I didn't see anything like that, so I'll try to get a hold of Virginia and see where she's getting.
And then find a resolution, let us know.
Generally speaking, the board, I mean, there is a statute that basically says the board can set up how the check should be signed, however they want, with the other exceptions that the clerk has to attest to the drafts, the warrants.
Contracts, resolutions.
Yeah, so
Whatever the
it's
statutes
news to me that some of the things, there's a statute out there that says it's just two. So I'll get in touch with her and see where that's coming from.
Would it be prudent to?
Let's table
To table this
Till
until we
tomorrow.
find that information out?
Then you figure it out by tomorrow?
Let's put it down as an agenda item.
item.
Let's put it down
We-
as an agenda item for,
Well, we're tabling it.
13th.
We've made a motion already. We can do something with it. So. Doesn't matter. We can wait.
well, I can't table you guys' two motions, so.
We can do that
You
ourselves.
guys can do that.
We can table this or we can postpone it. We can postpone this motion to a future meeting. We can do it if you would prefer the 13th, we can do that. Or
Yeah, then it's-
Depends on what he can find out when.
Yeah,
If you can do it by tomorrow.
I will try. Again, it depends on when.
Yeah, I think you can
So I
just
want
move
to
it
talk with
later.
Virginia.
Yeah.
And if we get out of here at 4:30, I'm not gonna be able to talk with Virginia.
okay.
Yeah, let's leave, then we'll get moving.
Why don't we do it on if we did it on the 13th, that would be probably adequate time to do for the month end anyway, correct?
yeah,
For the,
That's all
for
right.
the check run, for the AP run.
Well, it doesn't mean you have to have 3 signatures on the check.
No,
It
just-
means
no.
that-
Yeah,
If then he could take,
It's just you're
he
putting all-
could take a third of them that way though.
Yeah,
So, I think we can table that until the meeting on the 13th.
so again,
okay by me.
Okay. All right, moving to new business. Consideration of accepting the bids for lots 1 through 3 and 7 through 10 in block 126, town of Silver Cliff. I believe you have in your possession.
I believe we only have 1 bid. Should I open it up?
If you would, please, sir.
You want a drum roll?
you want a letter opener?
I guess we'll wait for that. All right, shall I read the bid? Or there's a letter involved.
Read it. It's okay.
We, Michael and Laura Lynn J. Cast, and I apologize if I mispronounced this, Castendick, are the present owners of adjoining lots 4 to 6, block 26, town of Silver Cliff, Custer County, Colorado. And per conversations with you at your November BOCC meeting and your subsequent posting and public announcements, we hereby present the following bid on the above referenced property, $7,001 and no dollars. Further, per Commons Real Estate Bid Offer Practice, we hereby escalate our bid to $100 increments more than any other bona fide competing sealed bids received by commissioners as per posting, with our total bid amount from us to cap at $8,001. If no other offers have been received, $7,001 is our firm offer to be considered. In good faith, please find included our check in the amount of $7,001, and should we be awarded the bid, we will provide to Custer County Clerk and Recorder any additional funds which may be necessary to acquire the property within 2 business days of being notified of the approval. Thank you. If you have any questions, let us know. So I have a check for $7,001.
And I move we accept the bid presented by Mick and Lori Cassidy.
Okay, I have a bid or a motion on the floor. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Discussion.
None for me.
We're good.
Okay, and then for me, any public comment on this item of business? Mr. Gilbert?
Just a question, what is the assessed valuation of the property?
I do not know that answer, sir.
Is there an assessed valuation if it's owned by the county?
No.
I don't
What
know.
we think
It is wrapped up into kind of all the lots that we have over there. So those will be separated out now from being assessed in there, and I talked to the assessor and he says it's no problem. It's anytime we sell something, it gets pulled out of the other assessments and. So, and I looked at it once,
When we did
But I
it
didn't-
before, the assessed value, the value that we talked to JD about and what the county had in it was $500. For the 3 lots, and so these are narrow lots. And they put some money into it, so I think it's a fair deal. We're not in the business to be a real estate agent or a for-profit county. We're there to make enough to do the services we provide.
Short answer is we don't have that answer. Okay. Sure.
I think along the same line, John Van Doren, it seems like a awfully low amount for 6 lots. And I'm wondering if there's some way to get an appraised value to consult with some real estate agents to understand what similar lots have been sold for recently. I know we're not in the business of making a profit, but we do have a fiduciary responsibility to get at least fair market value for any land we might be selling.
And
I actually have an answer to the previous question that might help.
go ahead.
It appears that these lots are separately valued. And by what I can tell, it's 29,400 is what they're valued at with the county assessor.
That was, you're gonna have to get the exact what that actually is, because that's the total of the. If you look at the lots beside it, those are county owned. So that was that block, that other block, and another one. You have to get JD to describe that. But we do know what we sold it for before, and it was for the three lots. 4, 5, and 6 was $500.
That's what you paid for.
That's what they paid.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, Commissioner Candy, you are correct.
That's right. That's 29.
It shows up differently on the map than it does.
That's right. And they cautioned me not to use.
So the 29,000 is all the lots put together, right?
The 29,000 is for lots 1 through 10 of block 29, lot 6 and part of 7 and 8 and 9 and 10 of block 32. Lots 1 through 10 of blocks 116, so and more of block 126.
See those are blocks below it.
We are only dealing with 1 block, so this is that
A
29.
third of that is $7,000.
Yeah, there's probably. So 10 parcels per block, 12
Yeah.
parcels, 10. And there's probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, if I remember, maybe even more of county owned ground there. So 10 times.
The value's not much.
Around
because
10 blocks times 10 parcels a block.
There's no, the only thing that would drive it up, they told me, is if some commercial business decides to come in, a big business, and actually pay. This is dealing with Round Mountain when I was talking to Round Mountain about it. Because there's no water there, there's no electric there, and so to put that money in, they gotta invest about $100,000 is what they were estimating to get the water across the road and into that point, and then the power as well. So it would take somebody besides a private business person, unless they got money behind them and they have a big development that they want to put in. So, I think, they already own that piece. I have no problem. If somebody wants to make it a bigger, deal on that, they got plenty of ground to go and make the commercial investment in the future, which would be years down the road. Round Mountain has to put a whole new water line in order to start over. They can't tap the top of that pipe that's in there now and bring it across the road.
I wonder if it'd be a good idea for us to, and of course, depending on what would happen with any surrounding ground or. Whether Round Mountain decided to all of a sudden put water mains in there, all would fluctuate what that ground value would do.
And the competitive market analysis today will tell you the same thing. It's worth $29,000 for unimproved ground with no utilities and no future for quite a while.
Anything else there then? Any other public comment then? Okay, let me check online. I'm not seeing any hands online either. Those, I have a motion on the floor to accept the bid from the Castendicks on lots 1 through 3 and 7 through 10, block 126 in the town of Silver Cliff. Those in favor signify for the sum of $7,001 and no cents. Those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 That motion carries. Next item that we have is the consideration of adopting resolution 23-11. Vacating a portion of County Road 155.
You're up again.
Sorry, I'm still trying to.
No, I'm just teasing.
New nest with.
So.
Where is that?
You had it sent, Kelly sent it with.
Oh, that's right. it's
First,
on the other one.
and then,
Yes.
And I will read that.
Yeah.
Won't take too long, I guess. I'll read it for everybody's benefit here. So Custer County Resolution number 23-11. A resolution to vacate a portion of Custer County Road 155 Cortez Road in unincorporated Custer County, Colorado. Whereas pursuant to section 43-2-20 or 303 CRS, Custer County has the authority to vacate any roadway within its unincorporated jurisdiction. And whereas Custer County's Road and Bridge Department has received a request to vacate a portion of County Road 155, also known as Cortez Road, and has reviewed the actual use of the property on the ground. And whereas the Road and Bridge Department has determined that the right-of-way sought to be vacated is not maintained by the department and is not needed or desired for public right-of-way purposes now or in the foreseeable future. And whereas the vacation affected hereby will not result in leaving any land adjoining said roadway without an established public road or private access easement connecting said land with another established public road. And whereas the county has determined that no significant public improvements lie within the proposed vacated right-of-way. And whereas the Board of County Commissioners has determined that vacation of the property of the portion of County Road 155 described herein is in the interest of the citizens of Custer County. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Custer County, Colorado, as follows. Section 1, pursuant to applicable state statute, the Board of County Commissioners of Custer County hereby vacates A, the entire width of the portion of Custer County Road 155, also known as Cortez Road, extending from the intersection of said road with Custer County Road 160, also known as Hermit Road, southerly to the point where the southwesterly boundary of lot 13 Conquistador filing number 1 intersects with the said road. Said section of vacated road constituting approximately 959 linear feet of road in Custer County, Colorado. Section 2, pursuant to the state statute, upon the effective date of this resolution, the title to the property vacated hereby shall vest 1/2 to each of the adjoining property owners at the center line of the vacated alleyway. Section 3, recording. The Custer County Clerk and Recorder, acting as clerk for the Board of County Commissioners, shall certify to the passage of this resolution and shall record a certified copy of this resolution in her office, acting as the clerk and recorder for Custer County. Approved and adopted this 5th day of December 2023 at West Cliff, Colorado, with signature lines. I would comment on this, that, that has not been maintained for many years. So that portion of road, they turn around, at, just before where this vacation ends, now in their maintenance. And they do not, so there's no summer or winter maintenance on that section of road. And has not been for some time.
Nobody lives.
No,
So a couple of things. Number one, the same property owner owns the lots on both sides of this portion that's being vacated. And she has in fact tried to erect a fence across the road, which has created some problems and essentially puts the county in a choice of showdown with her about putting a fence across a road that nobody uses and nobody maintains, or just vacating the road. And it was the recommendation of the department, the Road and Bridge Department, that we don't need this. This doesn't need to be a part of the system. It doesn't produce any highway funds that we would get to vacate it.
It's the right thing to do.
There's no easements through there to get to another piece of property.
No, and I don't know if you can see this. I didn't print it out or anything, but the portion of the road that we're vacating is from here to here. Same owner owns these two lots. They're both vacant, and there's nothing on either of those lots, but they're both accessible on her road primarily. So, and the maintenance ends right about here. So that road is still in existence. It's just this portion right here that would be vacant.
Block off here,
Yeah,
and then this road's accessible through.
exactly, yeah.
Which is-
Better easement.
which
better-
is where everyone's coming in from. Anyway, that's presently where everyone's accessing the property from that area, from the south.
Hey, I move we
okay.
vacate that road per the request.
I'll second.
Okay, I'm gonna reword that and tell me if I'm correct.
Make it so that-
I have a motion on the floor to adopt resolution
There you go.
23-11 vacating a portion of County Road 155.
That's what I meant.
So I have a motion and a second on that. Discussion here.
No, I'm sorry. That's what we had before that motion.
All righty.
And just to be clear, for the public's sake, when we don't, while we technically own the roadway, we can't just, it's not a piece of property that we could theoretically sell to somebody. There's a state statute that addresses vacating a roadway. And essentially it goes half and half to the adjacent property owners. This isn't us getting rid of county property that we could otherwise make money off of.
Well, actually, that's true with everything, because the property lines always go to the center of the county roads, and we have the right of way. Because we've agreed to take it on and maintain them, so they don't belong to the county.
I think in this
So
particular
you
case,
vacated it, goes
we
back to-
actually own this right
Yeah,
away.
because
The
it's
county
not-
has some right of ways that we own.
Well, if you want to call it owning, I guess that's true.
Most of our
It's still a
roads
right
are
of way.
prescriptive use, I
Yeah.
believe is the proper terminology there. To where the landowner is still paying taxes to the center of the road, but we by right. Have the ability to use that road and maintain it as well as the drainage and
That's right.
things that they
It has
upkeep
to
of the
meet
road.
the standard to do.
But this is one of them that is actually owned, the right of way is actually owned by the county.
So there's a deed
At
on
some
that.
point.
Well, it would be part of the subdivision plat.
Yeah,
So
That's-
that
they
is
should-
accepted by the
they
county.
show the right, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
So we're just vacating the maintenance.
I don't know
Which
if
we
we
don't
even
do
took on
anyway.
them,
So-
we weren't maintaining it because it never was put in to be what we could maintain.
So,
They'd had, the subdivision people would have had to build the road and said, okay, take it, county. In order for us to maintain.
any public comment?
Just curious, John Van Dorn, If we actually do own that road, the land under that road, does that mean that the language of the resolution needs to change to address that? Because we don't want to be owning that land anymore.
No, the language of the resolution takes that into account.
Okay,
Under section 2, it vests title in the roadway half to each side of the road.
Yeah, it actually says that.
Anything else from here in the room?
I have a comment.
Yes, ma'am.
Nadine Peterson. If the county does own it and they're going to vacate it or whatever, is there, we don't sell it?
No, per statute, we do not sell our rights away there. It is probably that same section 2, where to the center line, at the center line of the road, each half goes to the adjoining property owner on that side of the road.
Like it would default on any other piece that they go on. Automatically in most cases go back to each side.
Okay, and I'm not seeing anything online. So those in favor of adopting resolution 23-11, vacating a portion of County Road 155, please signify by saying aye.
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 That motion carries. Next item we have is the consideration of the 2024 meeting schedule. I know that you have been talking about possibly making some changes to that, and if you would like, I would let you kind of present this if you, or if not, I'll do it.
So I would like to go to a consistent schedule, and I don't know, my proposal is that we go to every Wednesday, same time, same day of the week. So the community, anybody in the community or myself, goes Wednesday mornings, we have the meeting at 9 o'clock, and that's what we do. If we want to do a 1 to 5, I could probably get behind that a little bit too, but I like to start today off early in these things and not later in the day, but that's just what I propose that we do. I don't like the back-to-back meetings. It's I don't think we get out of this. I think we don't have time to, whatever comes up in a meeting on Tuesday afternoon, by the time we get out of the meeting and try to get anything done about that meeting, I have to slide it to Thursday if I can't get it done Wednesday afternoon. So that's kind of what I propose. And maybe it's the first 2 Wednesdays and the last 2 Wednesdays, because there's quite a few months next year that have 5 Wednesdays in them, but I don't have a problem with every Wednesday either, so.
Well, the less meetings, the better, if we can be more efficient. And that's a good thing, good to strive for. And reports, we need to clean up how we get the reports and how we present them. How does it affect you, Dan?
Number one, I serve at the pleasure of the board, whatever the board wants. Don't.
Well, we tried to
necessarily
accommodate
craft
your
it around
Sylvan
me. I
difference.
appreciate. I think the reason we have the afternoon meetings is a fairly recent occurrence, and it's my fault. The board chose to do them on Wednesday or Tuesday, the first Tuesday afternoon, because Silver Cliff meets at 5, and it allows the county and Silver Cliff to essentially split my travel costs, whatever those may be. But I'm not, that, to be clear, it's not something I requested, and I don't mind it and I appreciate it, but it's not something that is like, oh, I have to have this in order to be the county attorney. That's not at all the case. I will say, by definition, I've already scheduled a number of things out in the first, at least in particular, the first few months of the year. So, and I've scheduled those based on the current schedule of the board meetings. So there will be a number of meetings that I might otherwise be able, I might otherwise attend, but I can't attend. For instance, January 3rd, I'm in trial across the street in theory, which that's the first Wednesday.
Well, in theory, but that, in January, we usually don't do the first one, we do the end of December, and then we hit the 15th of January. Or whatever
I think
the
I
next
just have it
one
all
is.
automatically kind of populated in the calendar here, so. But I would say, I mean, certainly don't need to make things with my schedule. I'll work everything around what I can.
Let me,
and make the meetings that you want me to where I can.
So in the past, maybe we can talk about this. Peggy, do you remember, did Kelly come up with the straw man in the past? Who did the schedule that we looked at initially, and then we adjusted it depending on the holidays? Do you remember anything about it? No.
I believe Tom and Kelly got together.
I mean, that's what I thought. Kelly got involved in it. So what I would suggest, Lucas, because you got a pretty good idea, why don't you get with Kelly and take the schedule we got this year? I did it. I was looking for it, and we can look at what we did last year. What a problem that came up was we had a couple places where you had a national holiday, and then we had a holiday that county, like Indigenous Peoples Day. We said it's Columbus Day, and we kept observing that. But if you had two major holidays in the same week, that meant the courthouse was open 2 days. We can't have that. Or we start looking at a 5-day a week or something. But we need to balance that. And we don't have to have the mid-month meeting either on some of those days. We can forego that and put the meeting at the first month and at the end of the month, some items in that. But that would be something that maybe if you want to work with Kelly on that,
Okay.
because you got kind of a different outlook on it, that would be good. And then bring it back on the 13th.
Well, no, you and I have had some discussions as to the reports
Yeah,
that we're doing
you can.
now tomorrow. The department head reports. And do we need all of these departments reporting in
At the same
or
time.
not? So that's kind of a question we need to address, I think, as well. On that, because I think it's prudent to have some of them. I don't know that we need to have all of them.
Well, and Tim Harmon with the recycle said he was gonna have a bunch of volunteers tomorrow. And he asked, hey, can I just give you my report and not be there? Because he says, I have a lot of volunteers coming up, and he says, I want to make sure that they stay safe. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. I'll give you a report. I can read that as well as he can. And I may not have all the information, but I can run through that report and ask him any questions today that I need and present that tomorrow for his sake, because I want, I mean, we don't want to run the risk of, I'd rather have them out there in the field, in the trenches, working. And, this time we can do a meeting and we can figure out how often we need recycles to give a report. And I think they send it in monthly, but do we need to present it all monthly? I don't know if that's what we need to do or not, or we read the brief highlights of what's going on, so at least the public knows.
Yeah, and then there is a statute that says we're required to get the departments, all of them, to give us a report. Now, how often, when, we just have to conform. We've got to do it because the people have to know, the citizens have to know how their money's being spent. And we do too. We have to make sure we're on top of it. So whatever makes sense to get the best bang for the buck. I know that Fremont County gets through 300 items in a meeting, and they only meet 3 or 4 times a month. And I think or once a week, we can find that out. But the person you could talk to about who did a lot of research was Jennifer Creed, and she did make some phone calls, and she did get some examples of how to structure the reports and that kind of thing. Yeah, and she probably still has that log, because we were looking at that before everything got so busy.
Correct.
Well, it might not hurt to figure out, maybe we could all figure out. So on these reports. Which ones we feel we need to have every month.
And then maybe you,
Uh,
yeah, that's a
and
great
then,
idea.
You know, bring those back. See if we're in agreement on that, and then, we can make the others turn in and maybe a quarterly report in person or even the semi-annual, not a biannual, right?
So once you,
Let me make sure I got my terminology correct.
yeah, I hate
We don't want them every other year.
I don't want to do it every year, every other, or twice a month. But once you get kind of a thought there, just send it to all three of us to take
You
a
know,
look at.
if that was weeded
before we
down
meet.
enough, we could effectively do away with. Right now I'll refer to it as tomorrow's meeting,
Mhm.
because that's what that meeting is basically in its entirety. So if we could do that and then maybe have a schedule of,
Reports we can have. at
maybe
different
3
times.
Wednesdays during the month. Would that work for,
Yeah, could be.
and figure out that schedule?
I will, and then I'll find out where we need to be with end of month. Cause that end of month one, we've always pushed into the last 4 days, wherever it lined up.
Yeah, so it'd be
That
okay.
one's always shuffling around, and I'd rather it just be.
If it was a Wednesday of that
consistent.
last week, that's okay.
And I believe the reason that is that way, we'd have to look at it because that's when the day that we approve the AP.
And it can be approved sooner, but
Yeah, so we could do that, and because, if we continue with 2 runs of the AP anyway, then
I don't.
I guess it doesn't really matter.
Right,
Yeah.
and we may look at every week, so.
And the payrolls information, we don't have to approve that. I would like to continue to see us meet in Wetmore. I think there's still enough people down there that are still attending that.
Only if they make cinnamon rolls.
Yeah, and they still do. So, you know, that would be my one ask.
Alright, I'll look into it.
All right,
I'll get your guys' report.
okay. Any additional items of business?
No, the only thing that I would like to have you take a look at your calendar on the 12th, 11th and 12th, 14th and 15th this week, this month, next week. Would you guys give me your open times? Because what I want to try to get in is a discussion with Michael Foster and have a sit down with just the 4 of us in a closed meeting, just a business meeting on process of when we want to, how we want to move forward with the leadership development, strategic planning, employee development. One of the things that I discussed with and I had a discussion with the new HR gal at CTSI. When we do that, we can put out a survey to all the employees before we get together and start planning anything. So we need to get that in works. But I want to have that discussion with Michael Foster and Rick and you and the 3 of us, so we can come up with a process. So just let me know on the 11th.
Monday afternoon,
You're open.
I'm open, and Thursday morning, the 14th, I open.
Okay.
So I have, you have who's scared now?
I am.
So you have a scheduled 4th quarter board meeting on 2:30.
Mhm.
We have a courthouse security in the morning on Monday afternoon. I do have a physical therapy appointment in Canyon.
So you're out on nothing on Monday.
It'll be very limited. And
Okay.
then Thursday is pretty, the 14th is pretty open for me.
Okay, and I'm not ruling out the 15th, you don't work 4 days.
Yeah.
I have that CCI training all day.
On the 15th.
and I may wanna pop in on some of that.
I would have another question that I would ask another time, probably in regards to that, but not prudent for the present time.
Then the other, okay, so that helps. And then the other thing I want to do is to make sure we have that mill levy town hall in the right place. We can do that. We can do it the following week, actually. If that crowds up Christmas a little bit, but we need to do that once we have our discussion on the 13th. Mill levy.
Okay.
So keep that in mind. Okay.
Okay.
And then on the 11th, we still have our meeting for the finance director budget stuff, right?
12th.
Or the 12th, I'm sorry, I keep thinking the 12th is in, but we're free in the afternoon then. Or I guess that's a time we could use as well.
That is in the afternoon.
All right, sorry, the morning.
Yeah.
I
That
don't
morning
have
I
it.
have tourism board. On the 12th.
Okay. All right, that's all I had.
All right. Public comment. Anything from in the room here? Gilbert?
James Gilbert, couple of things that regarding what was just discussed, actually. One is, I believe that keeping a reasonable number of meetings, 2 to 3 a month is a good idea, because that does not allow, well, it keeps the public discussion relatively fresh as opposed to festering and becoming a bigger than volcano type of issue as opposed to a little anthill. So I would suggest that you work on something like every Wednesday or every other Wednesday or whatever. Second thing is about the reports. And since I've been attending the meetings that the reports are given, I continually wonder why you had the meeting like that. Because those reports are basically something you should get in writing, read them, and decide if there's anything that the public needs to know.
That you hit the nail right on the head.
Most of it is irrelevant to us. We don't care. But some of it, and I would defer to your judgment on those bits of either monetary expenditures or whatever that need to be brought out to public. The last thing is, with all due respect, discussion of a program developing leadership skills for the entire county employment for the employees of the county, I think should be discussed in the context of a broad view of how that is approached. And the people mentioned as those giving guidance, that strikes me as a fairly myopic view. And I would suggest a broader view of how leadership is addressed. That's it.
Thanks.
Thanks, sir. Maybe.
I do have one question. I don't know if this was followed up on, Nadine Peterson. There was a request for the executive session audio for July 31st. And that was moved to October 18th. That was the one that we're asking the board or the commissioners or somebody to transcribe it and redact what can't be shared with the public. And I was wondering, what is the update on the status of that and when it will be provided?
I'd actually thought that that was overcome by events. I didn't realize that was still pending.
Yes.
And I believe that was for. I'd have to go back and see what
Somebody was doing
that
it.
meeting was at that point.
That was the,
July 31st was the executive session.
it was for. The reason it was, needs to be redacted because it mentions people by name.
Okay, that is
That
one,
was for
that is
the
one that,
which one was
where
that?
we were discussing candidates. correct?
Candidates for the
Yes.
county
And
manager. I
that
think.
one there, the only candidate that would be released would be the finalist, which was released. Any other candidates and any discussion about them is not releasable.
Is that something you could check with the attorney?
Thank you.
We already have checked with our attorney on that man. And that is the advice that we got from him. So. So I would say that a particular executive session is not forthcoming. Anything else?
Yes, John Van Dorn, one additional comment on, I've only been at one meeting, for the staff reports. And I was surprised that it took so long. And that the three commissioners were so deep into the weeds of operations. I mean, when you three are talking about filters on fuel tanks, I don't think that's the best use of commissioner time. I did note to Commissioner F, I lived in Park County for quite some time. They didn't do those meetings. One of the reasons they didn't do those meetings is they had a county manager that elevated any issue that the commissioners needed to know about at the staff level onto an agenda. And so it didn't take all that time. If in Park County, if you wanted to go to the county manager's staff meeting and get into the weeds, you could always do that. Or you could walk around management by walking around and just talk to people and see how things are going. But it seems like an incredible waste of your time and staff time to have those meetings, at least the way that I observed the one that I went to. Thank you.
Good,
Thank you.
good point.
Some of those tend to get long. I would agree with you on that. And there's a couple, like right now with a lot of goings on. Where the sheriff's office and the coroner now have been given some pretty, those are information that everybody's aware of and have their ear out for. But I would agree, some of those get terribly long.
So since you mentioned it and we're talking about it, that's a good point, Lucas. There's no reason in God's green earth that a department head can't be like a county manager and decide what he thinks is important to get to us. Same thing.
Right.
It's not that much. So something to consider.
I will.
And you're right, you can go walk around and ask any department head what you want as a citizen. As long as you're not stepping in front of a motor grader.
I'm not gonna be doing it.
All right, anything else here? Check online again. Nothing online. So at this time.
Hey, before you go into the exec session, Nadine, and would you, are you, you have your phone with you today? I wanted to ask you a couple of questions about some of the things you were asking. Are you gonna be around or can I call you later?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, anything else?
No, sir.
Okay. At this time, I will recess the BOCC meeting and, well, I would move that we move into executive session for a personnel matter for 24-6-402 (4) F to review Human Resources Director and BOCC Administrative Assistant applicants. And so I would recess this meeting. Oh, I guess I have a motion on the floor. I need a second.
I'll second.
Any discussion on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's making sure that everybody understands. This is not to review them and make a selection. This is to review them, see what we got and make a decision on how we have to have interviews. We need to schedule the interviews to hire these two positions. That's what the session's about. And then those interviews will be done. And then once that's done, we'll have an open meeting to select them.
All right, anything else? Okay, those in favor of going into executive session for personnel matter, signify by saying aye.
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 That motion carries. I will recess this meeting at 1:55 PM. We will have no other business when we come out of that. If you guys want to stick around, you're more than welcome to, but
You're gonna see us quit.
we won't do anything when we come out.
Getting it done under an hour.
We're not done, hold on.
You're not done, and I'm not done.
ready when you want to.
All right, the time is now 2:42 PM on December 5th, 2023. And the executive session has been concluded. The participants in the executive session were myself, Kevin Day, Commissioner Lucas Epp, Commissioner Bill Kanda, Attorney Dan Slater, and the acting clerk to the board, Peggy Miller. For the record, if any person who participated in the executive session believes that any substantial discussion of any matters not included in the motion to go into executive session occurred during the executive session, or that any improper action in the executive session in violation of the open meetings law, I would ask that you state your concerns for the record now. Okay, hearing none. We have no further items of business on our agenda. So I would adjourn this BOCC meeting at 2:43 PM. Thank you all.